Welcome back to Braintree Today. I'm Martha Konstandinidis and you're watching BCAM TV. Now we'll be getting into our latest stories from the week. On Tuesday morning, a man wearing a gas mask released a smoke bomb and started shooting in a Brooklyn subway, striking multiple people. Reports show that the shooter fired his gun 33 times and struck or injured at least 29 people. NYPD have identified and are still searching for suspect Frank James. Officials believe James rented a U-Haul truck after discovering keys on the scene. The U-Haul van was linked to the suspect after further police investigation. Police now have probable cause to arrest James for attempted murder of 10 people. This was determined after more than 18 hours of investigation, which included video, cell phone data, and witness interviews. Due to this recent attack and the Boston Marathon, which is taking place this Monday, the MBTA and the City of Boston are now increasing security and safety precautions before the weekend. The war in Ukraine is driving up food prices on a worldwide level. The United Nations says prices for world food commodities like grains and vegetable oils have reached their highest levels ever because of Russia's war in Ukraine. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization said last Friday that its food price index, which tracks monthly changes in international prices for a basket of commodities, averaged 159.3 points last month. This is up 12.6% from February. The February index was the highest level since 1990. The Food and Agriculture Organization says the war in Ukraine was largely responsible for the 17.1% rise in prices for grains, including wheat. Russia and Ukraine together account for around 30% and 20% of global wheat and corn exports. A spokesperson for the Massachusetts State Police confirmed that 11 Massachusetts state troopers and 1 sergeant were terminated last Friday after refusing the COVID-19 vaccine. The firing comes 8 months after Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker signed an executive order requiring all executive branch employees to provide proof of vaccination by October 17th or face disciplinary action, including possible termination. The State Police Association of Massachusetts previously challenged Baker's mandate at both the administrative level and in the courts, but exhausted all legal and administrative avenues. In a statement released Friday evening, the State Police Association blasted the move to fire the troopers, saying, quote, "Governor Baker has proven yet again just how hypocritical he is. He has just terminated at least 12 troopers due to his vaccine mandate. No appeals, no due process, just a governor hell-bent on breaking the backs of the state police who work tirelessly each day to keep the Commonwealth safe," end quote. The state is still monitoring and reporting health trends. Yesterday, over 40,000 molecular tests were conducted and 1,712 new positive cases were reported. Currently, 262 people are hospitalized in Massachusetts and 33 are in the ICU. 12 new deaths were also reported. The town of Braintree also continues to monitor COVID data from the state. Since the last week, the town hall hasn't reported any new COVID updates. The town hall website currently shows 9,618 positive cases in total. There have been no new fatalities reported since last week. Thanks for watching Braintree Today. We'll be right back with more after the break.
The COVID vaccine is free and highly effective. Most vaccines require 2 shots, given 3 to 4 weeks apart to fully protect you. So be sure to get both. The vaccine is an important tool to protect you, your family, and your friends. Learn more.
Welcome back. Last Tuesday, the Braintree Town Council gave Merica Chorus the okay to finalize a tax increment financing plan for Integra at the Wood Road location. Integra Life Sciences, a leading life sciences company, says it has outgrown its South Boston manufacturing plant and has no room to expand. Integra potentially could take over the former Haemonetics building at the end of Wood Road. Integra's Senior Vice President for Operations and Plant Optimization, Kevin Breeden, said other sites are still under consideration, but Braintree is on the very short list of potential locations. Under the proposal, the company would receive a 25% discount on the property taxes for improvements on the property for 15 years. The discount would cover the $35 million the company plans to spend on improvements and another $16 million for equipment and furnishings. As part of the agreement, Braintree residents would be given hiring preferences for the new jobs. Breeden said if Braintree is selected, construction would be completed by the end of next year, and it would take another 2 years to obtain federal and international approvals before manufacturing could begin. He said the company will decide on the location in a few weeks. Weymouth officials announced their concerns about a proposed redevelopment project on Columbian Street in Braintree that could potentially have impacts on traffic and wetlands in the area. Developers Alan McDonald and Christopher Reel of Banner Park Campus LLC are proposing more than 270,000 square feet of technology and industrial space on 2 lots at 60 Columbian Street near the Weymouth line. Weymouth Mayor Robert Hedlund stated, quote, "We're concerned about the scale. We think 270,000 square feet sitting near wetlands with minimal setbacks suggests it's very imposing, and the traffic statistics suggest it's very imposing," end quote. Hedlund also went on to say, quote, "We want Braintree to look closely at the scale and be part of the solution to minimize the impacts," end quote. On Tuesday night, Weymouth residents and Weymouth official Robert Luongo raised their concerns at the Braintree Planning Board meeting. The decision was tabled to the next meeting, which is scheduled for May 10th. During last week's meeting, the Town Council approved spending $450,000 in CPA money on a project to refurbish the street hockey rink next to the Highlands School using Community Preservation Act funds. The money coming from the Community Preservation Act Open Space and Recreation Fund will provide $200,000, with the remainder of the balance coming from the unrestricted fund. The project not only includes the rink improvement, but an adjacent fenced-in grass area. Mayor Charles Kokoris wrote to the council in support of the project, writing, quote, "These improvements will create an enhanced area of recreation for the Highlands neighborhood and Braintree as a whole," end quote. Braintree School Superintendent James Lee announced that Caitlin Long, a Framingham educator, will be the new principal of Highlands Elementary School. Long will take over from Nancy Pelletier, who's retiring after 15 years as the Highlands principal. Long has extensive experience working with English language learning students and has worked as the vice principal of Brophy Elementary School in Framingham for the last 3 years. Before that, she was a teacher in Everett Schools and a facilitator of professional development and a researcher at Boston College. Recently, the Patch introduced a new editor to their team. I had the opportunity to speak with Mary Ellen Gambin to learn more about her and the future of the Braintree Patch.
I'm a native of Boston. You might be able to tell by the accent that I'm from High Park. So yeah, I started my journalism career in 1994 after graduating from BU. Did community journalism for several years before going into government and social services, got an MPA, and then returned to community journalism about 5 years ago. I was freelancing for a Boston Weekly, Gannett, and the Hopkinton Independent until I came aboard first as a freelancer with Patch in August, and now as the editor for 7 communities, including Braintree.
Hyde Park, that's very local. That's awesome.
So to throw that in there, I get a lot of comments about that.
So there's so many different aspects of journalism and in the market. What made you decide on focusing on local news specifically?
I just felt from the beginning that communities really needed a voice. They needed their needs articulated in a meaningful way. I know sometimes community groups will rise up and they don't really feel like they're being heard by government officials. So if I could be a conduit to help people get the actions that they need, I've covered a lot of stories during COVID on affordable housing, assaults, and just trying to make sure that the officials understand what's most pressing in the communities that they may not know the complexities of, with populations, language, and things of that nature.
Yeah, so you mentioned a little bit earlier that you had come to the patch after making some changes, and you came back to journalism. So what brought you back to the patch, and what made you decide to go for this position?
Well, I was actually really excited when I saw a posting for Patch, and I spoke with the New England director, and his focus now, and Patch's focus, has turned more to what they term as hyperlocal journalism. And that's really been my bread and butter throughout my career, whether it's been journalism or volunteering in my communities for 20 years. Just to be able to get everything out there, make sure that people are aware of what's happening in the community and that they can respond. Patch is wonderful because of the virtual format, and people can engage with each other after articles in the chat. It just makes it really come to life.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes it very accessible. And I know a lot of people in the Braintree community use the patch as just, getting in touch with other people. So do you have any plans for the future of the patch already, or do you have anything that you're hoping to accomplish?
Oh, yes. I really want to dive into the community, get to know the people and its rhythms. I want to focus on government, but as well as what I would like to do is do more human interest stories, maybe do profiles on local businesses to help them through the COVID recovery period, even connecting with the schools to highlight students, because I feel for them and the experiences that they've had during COVID. And I'd really like to highlight their successes after kind of the trauma that they've experienced during the pandemic.
Now, does this just cover Braintree, or what towns will this cover?
Actually, I'm the editor now of Braintree, Framingham, Natick, Hopkinton, Holliston, Dedham, and Norwood.
Okay, awesome.
I've had experience in a few of those communities. Braintree is new to me as far as covering it, but as a kid, I'm familiar with Braintree and I've spent many days at South Shore Plaza. So.
I mean, Hyde Park is local, as you said, and we're very excited to see more coming from the patch, especially in the Braintree area. So thank you so much for speaking with us today, and it was great having you on.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to connect with you and engage with the community, and I hope everyone knows they can feel free to reach out with me with ideas as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any contact info that we could, get across to people?
Oh, yeah, I'd appreciate that. My email is maryellen.gambon, Gambon, @patch.com.
The Braintree Recreation Department is offering their summer programs and events. This year, programs will include sports and kiddos clinics, organized play at neighborhood playgrounds, field trip clinics, summertime special needs day activity programs, and the summer concert series sponsored by Beld. Registration for the sports and kiddos clinics opened on April 4th, but you can still register for these clinics online at www.braintreerec.com. Registration for the field trip clinic will be held in person at the Recreation Department, located at 74 Pond Street on Tuesday, May 10th, beginning at 5 p.m. Registration forms for the Summertime Special Needs Day Activity Program will also be held in person beginning Tuesday, April 19th in the Recreation Office. Additionally, the Recreation Department and the Highway Department are still accepting employment applications for summer employment for the 2022 season. For more information about summer programs or summer employment opportunities, you can contact the Recreation Department at 781-794-8900 or the Highway Department at 781-794-8950. Thank you for watching Braintree Today on BCAM TV. We'll be right back with more stories in the area. Welcome back to Braintree Today. Now let's get right into more stories around Massachusetts and the South Shore. Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev is asking for a stay of execution and is filing a new appeal on constitutional grounds, according to his attorneys. Tsarnaev's attorney filed paperwork saying the U.S. District Court in Boston improperly forced their client to stand trial in the city, denied his challenges to 2 jurors who allegedly lied in court, dismissed a juror who opposed the death penalty, and admitted evidence that was collected after a coerced confession. His lawyers said those 4 arguments were not presented to the U.S. Supreme Court, which reinstated the death penalty for Tsarnaev last month. Tsarnaev was given the death penalty by a jury that convicted him for his role in the 2013 bombing near the marathon finish line that killed 3 people and injured more than 260. The 126th Boston Marathon is slated to run next Monday, April 18th. The FDA has issued a warning about raw oysters sent to Massachusetts and other states. The agency said oysters have harvested in parts of Baines Sound in British Columbia may be linked to a norovirus outbreak. The FDA is working with the Canadian public health authorities to trace the contaminated shellfish. The warning is aimed at oysters shipped to restaurants and stores in at least 13 states, including Massachusetts. Oysters can cause illness if eaten raw, particularly in people with compromised immune systems. The issue is that food contaminated with the norovirus may look, smell, and taste normal. Symptoms of norovirus include stomach pain, nausea, fever, and headaches, but people typically recover in 1 to 3 days. A person usually develops symptoms 12 to 48 hours after being exposed. It's never too late to get an education. Just ask 92-year-old Carlos Rezende, who became Cambridge College's oldest graduate last week. The native of Cape Verde moved to Dorchester and worked as a paraprofessional with English as a second language in Boston public schools. When he retired, he decided to fulfill his dreams of getting a college degree. He started when he was 80 years old, seeking a bachelor's degree in multidisciplinary studies, and worked hard to show his much younger professors and classmates that he was just as capable as they were of contributing to the class. During the special commencement ceremony last Friday afternoon, the college announced a scholarship in his name to be awarded annually to an undergraduate student of any age. Congratulations to Carlos. In August, Polly Veneto will hit the road again for a second Polly's Push to the World Trade Center. Veneto started Polly's Push to recognize the flight attendants aboard the 4 planes used in the 9/11 attacks. He calls them the first responders, as they cared for their passengers while facing certain deaths themselves. A flight attendant for 3 decades, Veneto regularly worked on United Flight 175 from Boston to Los Angeles, but was on a scheduled day off on September 11, 2001. Polly's Push raised about $100,000, which was divided between the family foundations of his United 175 crewmates and Power Forward 25, a Marshfield-based nonprofit founded by 2-time Stanley Cup champion Kevin Stevens to assist those who, like himself, are dealing with addiction. At the age of 63, Veneto plans to do it all over again. Polly is now looking for a new sponsor for this year's push, so anyone interested can call him at 857-261-7167. And for more information, you can visit pollyspush.com. Residents and town officials are concerned about the potential for more future unplanned natural gas releases at the Algonquin Gas Transmission Compressor Station on the banks of the Fore River. Max Bergeron, a spokesman for the owner and bridge, says modifications are underway to fix problems and prevent future incidents. Bergeron said a new recompression unit will depressurize pipeline sections, improve the unit's efficiency, and minimize emissions. Bergeron also said the upgrades at the compressor station will allow maintenance work to be done in a way that minimizes emissions being vented. Alice Arena, who leads the group for Fore River residents against the compressor station, said she's glad a recompression unit is being installed, saying, quote, "It works like a recapture unit so that when they vent the system, it won't let the gas go back out in the air," end quote. Thanks for watching Braintree Today. We'll be right back with more in entertainment.
Protect yourself from mosquito and tick bites. Use an EPA-approved repellent anytime you're outdoors. Spray it on your hands first, then spread it on your face, neck, arms, and legs. Learn more at mass.gov/mosquitoes and ticks.
Welcome back to Braintree Today. In entertainment news, Dorchester native Mark Wahlberg says he wants to bring New England Patriots head coach Bill Belichick to the big screen. During a screening in Boston of his latest movie, Father Stew, the actor, producer, and lifelong New England Patriots fan teased a project focused on the iconic head coach, saying, quote, "Hopefully look out for a Bill Belichick biopic in the near future," end quote. That doesn't necessarily mean Mark would play the coach, but Wahlberg expressed confidence in his ability to handle the role. In a recent interview, the actor also said, quote, "It all started when somebody was like, 'Who would you see yourself playing, Tom Brady or Bill Belichick?' I think I'll look a little more like Bill Belichick. I love Bill, and I also know Bill. So to be able to hear Bill be on the podium where he says next to nothing and really hear him, I just kind of threw it out there. But yeah, if it's a possibility, I think he would trust me to do him justice," end quote. Now, here are some movie recommendations for a night out to the theaters. First up is Everything Everywhere All at Once, starring Michelle Yeoh, who plays the role of Evelyn, an unlikely hero who must channel her newfound powers when an interdimensional rupture unravels reality. Evelyn must save the world by exploring other universes, connecting with the lives she could have led in order to fight bizarre and bewildering dangers from the multiverse, as the fate of the world rests in her hands. Everything Everywhere All at Once was released March 11th, and you can still watch it in theaters. Next up in entertainment is Ambulance, starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen as Will, a veteran desperate for money to cover his wife's medical bills, who asks for help from his adoptive brother Danny, a charismatic career criminal played by Jake Gyllenhaal. With his wife's survival on the line, he can't refuse when Danny offers him his plan for the biggest bank heist in Los Angeles history. But when their gateway goes horribly wrong, the desperate brothers hijack an ambulance with a wounded cop clinging to life and EMT Cam, played by Isa Gonzalez, on board. In a high-speed pursuit that never stops, Will and Danny must evade a massive citywide law enforcement response, keep their hostages alive, and somehow try not to kill each other, all while executing the most insane escape LA has ever seen. Ambulance was released on April 9th and can now be seen only in theaters. And finally, something for the kiddos or for those looking for a little nostalgia, the world's favorite blue hedgehog is back for a next-level adventure in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey, returns, and this time with a new partner, Knuckles. Dr. Robotnik is in search of an emerald that has the power to destroy civilizations, and Sonic, voiced by Ben Schwartz, must stop him. Sonic teams up with his sidekick Tails, and together they embark on a globe-trotting journey to find the emerald before it falls into the wrong hands. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was released April 8th and can now be seen in theaters. That'll do it for news today. I'm Martha Konstandinidis, and thank you for watching Braintree Today on BCAM TV. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.